there, Stampers. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada, and I'm here to share a scrapbook layout process video with you today. Before I get started, I just wanted to kind of share some of the products or the bundle that I'm going to be using. The product medley is what it's called, actually. So it's called the Boho Indigo product medley, and basically you get a whole grouping of products that kind of all go really, really well together. So you get 48 sheets of this beautiful patterned paper, all kind of blues and kind of like a warm, like a vanilla kind of color. So 4 sheets of each of these patterns, and of course they're double-sided. Beautiful, beautiful patterns. I'm not actually going to use the patterned paper today. You get 6 sheets of this embossed paper. So it's a vanilla colored. So there's one that's kind of florally, one that is diamond, has diamond shapes on there, and then one that has a circle pattern. Those are really nice. And then you get 6 sheets of die cuts. So there's 2 sheets of these beautiful leaves, and then there's 4 sheets to each of these with some floral images and some label shapes. In addition to that, you get a bunch of these little flowers, and there's a couple different sizes in there, and they've got little beads in the center. You get 2 spools of ribbon, and like these are serious spools. There's 10 yards of ribbon on each spool. So there's the gold, and then I love this one, this navy blue with, look at the trim on it. I love, love, love the texture on this one. And then you also get the Boho Indigo bundle, which is a stamp set and some dies. So this is really what I'm using, this and a couple of the die cut shapes for today's layout. Okay, so there is an option where you can get this entire bundle. It's $95. You get everything that I just explained, plus shipping and tax, or you can get just the refill kit. And the refill kit just includes the paper products. So you get all the paper, you get the die cuts, and then you get the little flowers. So you don't get the stamp set, the dies, and the ribbon. And I have got a class focused all around this bundle where we're going to create a ton of things using this bundle of products towards the end of August. So in the description below, I will post a link to that information in case you're interested. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, first of all, I've got a few things here. So I'm going to use this wood grain paper as my background, and this paper is from the In Good Taste Designer Series paper pack. And I'm going to create, I'm kind of thinking of this as kind of like a barn wood kind of wall. And so this is going to be my shelf. So this is a piece of vanilla cardstock. It measures 1/2 inch by 8.5 inches. And then this is the photo that I'm going to use. This is a photo of my son. I'd have to look up the age. I'm not sure. I usually have it written down. But let me let you know how big this photo is. I think it might be 3.5 inches by 5 inches. Yeah, 3.5 by 5. So that's the size of my photo, and this is going to sit on the shelf. But I want to create some little accent pieces to go on the shelf. So I've got a scrap piece of vanilla here, and I'm going to bring in some of the vase images. So the first color I'm going to use is Bumblebee. This is one of our current in colors. And I'm going to use this vase image that has the flower. I'm actually going to use all 3 of these vase images. I'm just going to stamp that down. And I'm actually going to grab my foam mat. It's always nice to have that little bit of a cushion when you're stamping with photopolymer stamps. Okay, so I'm done with that color for now. And I'm going to bring in some Night of Navy. So there are 2 blues in this collection. There's Night of Navy and Misty Moonlight. This one I'm going to stamp. It doesn't really matter where I stamp them because they're going to get die cut anyways. Love, I think that's my favorite out of all the vases. I love it. Okay, and then the last color that I'm going to pull in is some terracotta tile. So there are so many different color combinations that you could put with these blues. But again, because I'm not pulling in really any of the blues, I'm using that kind of wood grain background. I could really pull in any colors. Okay, all right, so I've stamped my images, and then I'll pull in my dies. So you can see that the dies have several images that coordinate. So there's a die for each one of those vases. There's a die for the flowers and for the single flower, and then there's some complementary dies as well. So there's three more vases that actually four more vases that don't have stamps that go with them. And there's some leaf images that don't have stamps on them. So I like to call those complementary dies because the ones that coordinate cut out the stamped images, but then these complement them. And they actually make the set even more versatile. Okay, so as you can see, we can match up each one of these and run it through our die cutter. And then we've got 3 vases cut out just like that. Okay, so now let's kind of figure out the positioning of our vases here. Okay, so I want some height on this side. The photo is going to be quite a bit larger, obviously, than the vases, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be proportionate. It's really just a scrapbook page, right? I can do what I want. All right, so now I've chosen 3 leaf die cuts, and I'm just going to use my bone folder just to give them a bit more dimension. I know when I put this in a page protector, they'll flatten a little bit, but until it goes in, it might go on display or I might use it somewhere else. So I really like adding that dimension. Okay, so this is going to go like this. So now I want to kind of build a cluster. Okay, so see how that little cluster, it gives the vase a little bit more height, so it feels a little bit more proportionate. Okay, so I'm going to use just a little bit of our seal adhesive. And of course, I'm out of seal. All right, then I guess we will use, oh, I don't like to use this here, not with this. Okay, I've got a defective old adhesive here that I do not want to throw out because it it's still perfectly good. I hate to waste adhesive. So we'll just make do with that for now. Okay. All right, yeah, I'm happy with that. So I just need, for that third one that I put in there, I'm just gonna add a little bit more adhesive. Where there's a will, there's a way to make this work. So I couldn't get it to work in my case. So what I did is it keeps doubling back on each other and I could not fix it. Normally I can. So I just snip it and I manually do it. So it's a little bit of a pain, but it's okay. I gotta grab a refill for my seal adhesive. Okay, so I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop this up. And we'll put one here. Okay, so that's gonna go like that. This, yeah, I want this in front of that. So I'm gonna put a couple dimensionals, but I'm gonna put them on the right-hand side so that this can kind of overlap it just a little bit. And then this is gonna get popped up as well on this side. And I think my shelf, I want my shelf, I might put a double layer of dimensionals on the shelf to make it pop out even more. So it looks like it's coming out from the wall. Just peel off these backings and then put another layer on top. So that's a way that you can get some varying depths on your layout. And like this is going to be quite a thick. Obviously when you're putting a double layer, that's quite thick, but I'm okay to add lots of dimension to my layouts. I'm completely fine with that. Okay, and then we'll stick this down because this is going to be our shelf where we add everything. So I'm going to figure out how high I want it. I think lining it up with this one right here, I think that would be quite good. So I'm just going to use that line right on the paper. And you know what, if it's not perfectly centered, I'm okay with that too. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I like the positioning of that. So I'll just add a little bit of adhesive on here. Okay. Does that look like it's straight? I think so. Okay, so we've got that on there. I'm not going to do anything. I do want more weight to be on that side, so I'm just going to leave this vase empty as it is. Just like that. And then we can add this one. This is a really, really simple layout. It's not very involved at all, but it really showcases the photo, which really is what your layouts are supposed to do, right? The photos are meant to be the highlight of your photos in the story. Okay, so that's going to go on there, and then this one on here. And then I do want to add a title. So I want this to look like it's sitting kind of in front of the other one. All right. This looks like it's a little crooked here. Let's fix this. Okay, so now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my title under here. And I think I'm going to do back to school because this was his school photo. So I've gone ahead and I've cut this out. So I have used an alphabet set called the Playful Alphabet. Love, love, love this. And what I've done, you can see that on the back, I've turned them into stickers. So I used some of our self-adhesive sheets. So basically these are a 6 by 12 inch sheet of double-sided adhesive. So what I do is I cut, let me grab a piece of cardstock here and show you. Okay, so I'll cut a piece of cardstock and then I trim the self-adhesive strips so that they're just slightly smaller because you don't want them to go over the edge, because when you run it through your die cutting machine, if there's glue around the edges, it makes your plates all gummy and sticky and it's just going to be a nightmare. So you want that to be a little bit smaller. And then you take your letters and you basically just line them up along here, feed them through your die machine, and then you've got your own little stickers. So this is great. This adhesive is great for any kind of detailed die that you have, or dies that you have. So I've got the word school cut out. And then I was thinking I would do back to a little bit smaller. So we're going to try it and see what it looks like. It might be just a bit too small for what I like, but we'll have a look and see. Let's see. I'm just going to grab this piece because I can probably fit it right in there. So this is the Make a Difference stamp set, and it has a couple different alphabet sets in here, and mine is well loved and doesn't really stick anymore, so sometimes the letters are a little bit difficult to find, and I've lost my letter T. Okay, so I need to do the word back. So I've got a clear block here. I'm just going to pick my letters, and let's do it in navy. So we'll do the letter B. And you can, there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can line this up. That didn't work very well, it's smudged. You can line up all of your letters and stamp them all at once. But I personally prefer to do it this way because then I can get my letters a little bit closer together. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm looking for the letter A. This is an O. I think that's the A. Nope. That is an F. Okay, where is the letter A? Here it is. So I can, if I took the time, I could wash these front and back and they would regain their stickiness, so I wouldn't have this problem. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it. So see, by doing it individual letters like this, I can get quite close together. And I'm not too particular about how straight they are. There are times when I really want it to look perfectly straight, but then there's other times whereas this is a more kind of casual kind of layout. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm quite happy with the way it is like this. And then I think I'm going to use the number 2 just to give it even more of a casual feel. Here it is. So it'll say back and then the number 2 school. Okay, let's see how this looks. Close that up. Close up my ink pad. Okay, and then I'm going to take my scissors and just snip this. Just like that. Okay, let's bring back. I'm gonna do it that way or this way. Let's see. I think I might overlap it a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and peel back the letters, but I noticed that I must not have had a whole lot of or quite enough adhesive sheets on the back of my cardstock. So it's only got a little bit of adhesive on there. So I'm just going to add a little bit more on the bottom of this L just to make sure that it sticks. And I like to use tweezers so I can position it nicely. I want it to line up with the edge of the shelf. And you'll see how easy it is with the adhesive sheets. You don't have to worry about glue seeping out of the edge like that. And the great thing about alphabet dies is you can cut them in any color. You never run out of letters. They can always coordinate with your layouts, unlike when you're using alphabet stickers. So this is a great option. Might take a little bit more time, but doesn't matter how many O's you need or how many E's or A's, you know, all those common letters that you run out of. T's and S's, I find I use a lot of those. Okay, one more letter after this. All right. Okay, and then I do want to add just a little bit of journaling, not a lot. And this, I think I might just kind of pop up right there just with dimensionals. I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals, which I was just using not too long ago and I don't see on my desk. Okay, maybe we will just trim, we'll just trim these. It's the hazard of not cleaning up when you're filming back-to-back videos. All right. So I just trimmed around the edges on my regular dimensionals, and then it makes them small enough that they'll fit on that little strip. Cute. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to just add a little spot where I can do some journaling. And I'm kind of thinking just kind of in there, but I'm not sure I like that white and that vanilla, so I might grab a scrap of vanilla. Let's see, and like I said, it doesn't need to be very wide. Or maybe I want to bring in some of that yellow. Let's try the bumblebee and see what it looks like. Okay, let's see. Let's trim this a little bit. And if I tucked it kind of... Well, I don't want to do that. No, I don't like it floating like that. So no, that's not going to be a good option. So the other option could be, is I could create a tag and slide it underneath here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to bring in just my little paper trimmer here. Let's slide this out of the way for now. So this felt like the right kind of length. So I'll cut this about 4 inches, and then I'm going to trim it down so that it's like a tag. So I'll cut one corner, and then to get an even corner on the other side, I'm just going to flip this over, line it up like this, and then you get a relatively even angle on both sides. Now, I'm just looking for a hole punch. So I've got a 1/8 inch hole punch that'll just slide in here. And then those fabulous ribbons that are part of this kit. Okay, I'm going with more of a rustic look, so I don't think the gold is the right choice, but this is a beautiful choice. I have a little bit of navy that I stamped in, so the navy ribbon will work perfectly. So I just cut a little piece of that and then fold it in half. I think I need to make my hole a little bit bigger. Okay, so this I think is a 1/4 inch circle punch. And I'll feed this through. Just like that. And then I think I used to have, let's see if I have any left. Okay, I'm just reaching and grabbing my jar of twine here. And yes, I do see some vanilla twine in here. Okay, so there's that one, which is a little thicker. And then there's this one, which is a little thinner. I think I'm going to use the thinner one. Okay. So I'm going to cut a little piece of this, wrap this around, and tie a bow. This will be the perfect spot to add a little journaling, and it'll just be a little bit more private. I could say something sappy about him. All right, so we'll bring that back, and then I will just slide this in. And so this doesn't need to go all the way down for a couple reasons. First of all, it's not going to go all the way in because I've just used regular flat adhesive down the sides. If I popped it up using dimensionals like I normally do with the intention of making a pocket, then I would probably either make the pocket the whole length or put a row of dimensional or a dimensional here so it wouldn't slide down any further. But the ribbon is going to stop this from going down any further, so there's no need to do that. So just move it over here. There we go. And I love the way that looks. It turned out really cute, and it's such a simple layout. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up, and if you are not yet a subscriber, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. All right, I will have a full list of all of the supplies linked below in the description, as well as information on my Boho Indigo class. I'll link to more information on that class. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.